We're back here on First Up, the first stop in your busy day. The spotlight is on the Unit Trust Corporation. We've got some of the brightest minds from the UTC coming to give us sound financial and business advice. In with us today, we've got Omar Holder, the manager for sales and promotion at UTC. We also have Wendy Bishop, a new member of the team here on First Up. She's manager research and product development at UTC. So good morning and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Morning.
Okay, so today the spotlight is on retirement.
Yes.
That's a word that many people, when they're just starting out in the world of work, they don't want to think about.
Correct.
So why should we at 20 and 30 and even 40 be seriously thinking about retirement?
Well, thank you again, Jesse and Paul, for having us here. So today is retirement, and it is a word that keeps popping up in Unit Trust continually. The key with retirement is time. So a lot of us begin our careers 20, 25. We end our careers 60, 65. So we would have a maximum of about 40 years to save for retirement. The key, though, is to remember that time does not put money in your retirement account, but rather your paychecks put money in your retirement account. So at Unit Trust, we wanted to change it a bit and focus on the number of paychecks you have to save for retirement rather than time. And how to do that? Let's take the example of the 20-year-old. At 20, you have 40 years within for your career. You will have a paycheck each month of those 40 years. So 40 by 12 gives you 480 paychecks to save for your retirement. If you are 30, you'll have 30 years to go. 30 by 12, 360 paychecks to go. So while 40 years may sound like a long time, it's actually only 480 paychecks. And of those 480 paychecks, you can't save the whole thing, you have to live. It's only a piece will come out towards your retirement. So we wanted to focus in terms of your paychecks rather than time.
When you break it down that way, it's also indicative that the earlier you start, the less you have to put away.
Correct.
Yes.
That is very true.
That's
that is very
correct.
true.
So
Time is on your side.
that people may say, well, I'm 20, I don't need to think of retirement right now. But in the long run,
correct,
you will be able to have it's going to be an easier cushion for you.
Exactly.
In terms of how much you, and I would say you invest in your retirement.
Exactly.
Because it's really investing in your retirement.
Creating that nest egg.
Correct. Exactly.
Time
is on your side. The older you get, unfortunately, it works against you.
Do you find 20-year-olds and people in their 20s are getting that? Because there's a feeling of invincibility when you're 20. And it's like, I need to enjoy my life. I don't need to think about these things. But then the people don't realize how fast 20s kind of go by.
Exactly.
Into 30 and 40.
20s is only 10 carnivals here.
Exactly. Correct. When you think of it
That's
like
only
that,
10 carnivals.
it's a lot shorter than you think. We are seeing more and more 20-year-olds, though, becoming more aware. I believe the issues we've had in the global economic landscape since 2007, 2008 have changed a lot of perspectives of persons. So we are seeing more people coming in earlier to start asking that question: what type of account should I open? How much should I put aside? That type of thing.
Wendy, two questions for you. One, how much money should I put aside and how early? And two, do members of the general public realize that no matter what job you have, no matter how big or small you think your salary is,
Correct.
you can have a financial plan that can accommodate some sort of putting aside and investing in your retirement?
I will take the last question first, Paul. No matter how small, once you have your goal in mind, and if your goal is retirement, you have to start saving right away. And whether you're making $100 a month or $100,000 a month, you should be able to put aside because you have planned appropriately, financially planning your retirement or whatever your goal is to achieve your goal. The first question, how early you should start? The earlier the better. For example, what you should bear in mind is that when it is that you are for retirement, you have to start thinking, at what age am I going to retire? I'm going to retire at age 60. I am now 30. I have 30 years to plan for my retirement. 30 years equate 360 paychecks, as Omar said. The second question is, how much money will I need when I'm in retirement? As a retiree, how much money do I need? When you look at that, we look at it in terms of numbers. 360 paychecks is your income. Then you have to look at your money, your expenses. You don't know how much your expenses will be in 30 years' time, but you can anticipate that. So you say, okay, 30 years, my current expenses right now will be $2,000. I factor in medical costs because healthcare will go up. I look at the rate of inflation. I have to factor that in. I look at any unforeseen circumstances. I factor that in as well. Then I say, okay, how long will I spend as a retiree? Then I say, okay, the life expectancy right now in Trinidad and Tobago as a population is 71 years. So I say, okay, if I retire at 60, then I have 10 years in retirement. So the 3,000 by the 10 years, multiply by 12 for 12 months, we're going to multiply it by 12 to make it a monthly savings, monthly expenditure. So that's now $360,000. So 3,000 by 12 by 10, $360,000. How much do I need to save now? Will be divide that 360,000 by 360 paychecks. $1,000 a month is how much you need to save. If it is that your monthly expenses will be $3,000. Yes?
Okay, the formula that you just described sounds really great, but nowadays, this is the reality.
Yes.
People are living beyond 70. They're living into their 90s.
Right.
That's one.
Yes.
We have associated health complications
Yes.
that people in that age group experience between, say, 60 and 90, certain health complications that are very expensive to manage. And we also have the developing trend of people in their 30s and 40s and 50s developing things like diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and so on and so forth. So apart from planning for retirement, you also have to plan for your health management. How do you do that as well? Because that figure you gave, $1,000 a month, sounds really reasonable. But if you have to factor in the health management aspect of it, how do you do that? How much more then would you have to save?
Well, that is why in terms of your anticipating, are you talking about in terms of in retirement, how much health care you will need, or as you go through your life in terms of 30 to 35? Are you talking about retirement?
I'm talking about, let's take the best case scenario where the health issues begin rearing their head at 60 when you're going into retirement. So you're going to need retirement money to live on, and you also need money to manage your health as well.
And that is why we said you must factor in healthcare costs in your anticipated monthly expenses. So you know now that at age 60, a lot of things happen. Your health deteriorates. The first thing to go also as well in terms of unforeseen is sometimes you're referring on your home, those things. So you have to factor in those things, and then you will know exactly how much money you need to put aside to cater to those needs.
And as Wendy said too, of course, your history gives a good indication. So if your parents have died of diabetes or kidney failure or whatever it may be,
it should be prepared.
You begin to prepare because it's running through your blood. So, you know, if you wake up one morning and, oh my God, unfortunately, you find out that you have it, it should not hopefully happen that way. If it's in your family, begin to prepare, save $1,500 rather than the $1,000, just in case.
How does one factor in sporadic windfalls? Because they're very often, we're working all the time. We can start with a plan at, let's say, 25. I've been irresponsible before I'm 25, so I'm starting at 25. I've gotten my head together, and I'm saying, okay, well, my salary is $6,000, $5,000 a month. But you know what? I've done really well in my job. And I've gotten a raise, or I've gotten a bonus, or I've gotten an inheritance. How should we factor in these windfalls so that they're not squandered and they can go toward our health management later on and our retirement funds?
Two tips we give investors are: one, any type of windfall, you can do one of two things. Either one, spend a third of it, save a third of it,
I like
and
that.
invest
Spend
a third of it. So it's going to happen. Human nature. Exactly. So yes, you'll want to spend something.
Reward yourself.
You reward yourself. Secondly, you save a third. Put it somewhere where you cannot touch it. And lastly, invest a third. Going back to school, put it into a child, invested in a house, invested in some asset that can give you back more.
So there's some tangible evidence that I have not wasted
the
entire thing.
Correct. The other one is to utilize, again, your age. Because if you're 20, 25 and you get a windfall, great. Push that towards your long-term goals immediately. If you are 50, 55 and you get a windfall, push that into your short-term instruments because you know you will need it shortly.
How should I divide my money now in terms of, there's several different things tugging at my money. And I've now gone from 25 to 30 years old. And I've been responsible because I'm looking down the road and I've been well advised by the UTC as to what I should do and how I should be fiscally responsible because now I have a wife, my first child is born, we want to have another child. We have the nursing home fees coming up. This child is now in kindergarten or preschool. My job is doing well, but my wife has lost her job. How do we reevaluate our priorities and still take care of our families and ourselves into retirement? Given these many scenarios that can happen in one's life.
Correct.
You look at, in terms of how you divide your money, you look in terms of your risk tolerance, your tolerance for risk. If it is that your tolerance for risk is very low, you look for an investment that will protect or preserve your investment. Right? So in instrument, such as the UTC, we have the Growth and Income Fund, and we have for retirement, we have the IRUA, which is the Individual Retirement Unit Account. If it is that your risk tolerance is medium, we have a deferred annuity plan, approved plan, that is called Pensions Plus. That is when you all your payable premium, you get a tax relief on that. And then if it is that you have a good appetite for risk, we have one called the Universal Retirement Fund, which is just capital growth, and you can you're the exposure of the market. Yes, so those those three funds, three investment instruments can help you achieve your goal. But
how flexible are the instruments in terms of these days? The economies move forward and contract sometimes, and sometimes you might get a pay cut now, which is the other side of the windfall, or you may lose your job or not be working for a while. How flexible are these plans in terms of still maintaining that retirement portfolio, even though I may not have an income coming in for 6 months to a year, but I still want to maintain it? I may not be able to contribute to it now, but can I do that?
Yes, we don't have any limits on how much you can contribute. If you can contribute the cost of one, which is $14, you can do exactly that to ensure that you continue to save or invest for your retirement or for any goal that you have in mind.
Well, something else that we advise for just that same situation you called out just now, an emergency fund is critical for everyone who is working. As you say, once your name is not on the door, i.e. it's not your business, you have to be prepared. Right. We always tell our investors 3 to 6 months as an emergency fund. Start it now. It could be $100. You never know when that unforeseen circumstance may come. Your child may be great in sports and get elected to go on a trip. You don't want to dip into your retirement pool for those things. So begin saving. Children get into many accidents. So, for example, one of our funds, our children's funds, has an accidental insurance rider attached. So again, you won't have to dip into your pool to pay for some unforeseen circumstance. So emergency funds are critical.
So if I wanted to set up an emergency fund with the UTC, which instrument would be the best one?
Oh, we would say our TT Dollar Income Fund, because it gives you the safety of the capital that you need. It gives you 100% access, and then of course the returns are very competitive.
Yes.
And in our final minute, is there any circumstance that I should touch my retirement fund? Is that a big fat no? Leave it alone. You should have systems in place to deal with any other eventuality, so you do not have to touch that. That's not an option at all.
Well, as Jesse may asked, in terms of emergency, that TT Dollar Income Fund is the one that you should have as your rainy day emergency fund.
Absolute last minute.
Correct. Absolute last minute. We, of course, we prefer that you don't touch it. But as you said, if you have the systems in place, which is your TT Dollar Income Fund, as we just suggested, and your retirement pool along each other, yes, you may run down very low on the TT Dollar Income Fund emergency fund, then and only then you may want to.
It goes back to the overriding mantra. Diversify, diversify,
diversify.
Exactly, always.
You see, I'm learning.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you.
We've been talking about the manager sales and promotions at the Unit Trust Corporation, and Wendy Bishop, Manager Research and Product Development. We will head up to the C News Center for our latest news bulletin and come back with more. This is First Up on C.
Tell happening at home. Log on to ctntworld.com.